early, and I was thinking about time. And we're looking at time. And so I thought, okay, I can do a video. I'll get up, I'll do a video on time. And if you're like me, you're realizing that time in the day and age that we live in, with the awakening that is taking place, good morning, our time and others' time is truly the most important thing that we could offer anyone. It is. It's more important than any material thing on the face of this earth, is the time that we have on this earth, the time that we give others. Because just think about it. When you reach your final days on this earth, you look back. Some may regret that they didn't make time for the things that were most important, that the things that truly did matter to them. And if they had a little bit more time, say before their loved ones, before their loved ones left, if they knew they were going to leave this earth at a certain time, they would have rearranged their lives and made the time. We just don't realize how important time is. And as the days of my life personally, and you're probably finding that out as your life slowly tick away, you realize you don't want to waste your time. You don't. It's so precious. You're probably realizing it. Probably are. It's like when you go to work, they want your time. They want you to show up. They want you to do this. They want you to do that. It's your time. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Sleep is messed up. So I wanted to have a image. You won't see my face. I thought I'm just going to talk about time. I just want to get an image of a clock. And this is the first one that I came to. I thought, I like this. This speaks to me. Okay, now we're going to stay on time, but then look what this is. The time lords, the clocks that rule our world. And then you could think of time machines. Time machines also. Throw that in there. Good morning. Good morning. Time. The best clocks now only lose only a second every 300 million years. And the minuscule differences in their time is changing the world that we live in. I don't know where this article's going, but I know that time's very, very important. Every single second, part of every second counts. Time is money. Remember the sci-fi movie? I never watched it, but they had these invisible like tattoos, or maybe they could see them on their arm, and it was a clock that counted downward, and you worked for the time that you would have to be alive. The more you worked, the more time you had to extend your life. So I'm really interested in reading this now. Time is money. It's more important than money. And never was this clearer than 9:59, 9:58 5. They kind of read like an IP address, really, if you could look at it. And I'm getting the feeling this is, I'm feeling quantum, computers, quantum time. Okay, 9:59, whatever, Eastern time on the 3rd of June, 2013. Due to a glitch in its timekeeping, the news agency Reuters accidentally released trading data just 15 milliseconds early. The result was a $28 million of transactions as the robot traders started dealing before others could get a look in. Blessings to you all too. Technology has now reached a stage where even the tiniest discrepancy can be of a huge cost, pushing us toward a new era of timekeeping. If you're just tuning in, the title of this is really, it's like in your face. Time Lords, the clocks that rule our world. I think it's very, very fitting. It's very fitting. The most accurate clocks, let's read this, can tick for more than 300 million years without losing a beat. And that is by no means the limit. Those time lords can influence everything from the financial markets to your car's GPS. They may even allow us to test the substance of the universe itself. Improvements in timekeeping have always been central to society's progress, since we stopped measuring its passage with the movement of the sun. The invention of the mechanical clock revolutionized seafaring, for instance, since they allowed sailors to estimate their longitude, and in doing so, it fueled the age of discovery and colonialism. It also fueled advances in astronomy, as stargazers could measure the paths of heavenly bodies with greater precision. So if you're just tuning in, I was thinking about time is it's so very valuable, and you're probably realizing it yourself, and we don't have as much time as we think. Precise frequency. Even the best mechanical clock would not be suitable for today's standards. However, a grandfather clock, for instance, loses about 15 seconds a day, an eon in comparison to the accuracy achieved by our gold standard atomic clocks, invented 60 years ago. Are we talking about the 1940s, invented 60 years ago today? So we're in the year 2020. We're talking about the time of all this alien stuff started happening, really. The other type of life forms in science itself. Okay, Gina, get with it. The work by bathing a ball of calcium atoms in microwaves. The microwaves are tuned so that they are completely absorbed and then re-emitted by the calcium, which theory tells us should happen when the microwaves reach a frequency of precisely 9,192,631,770 oscillations per second. And measuring these oscillations, therefore, offers a very precise tick that is used to gauge the passing of time in much the same way that the regular swing of the pendulum powers mechanical clocks. Gotta skip through the ad. The future. The future. Though there's no video available, that video, if it says it's no longer available, then you know that it had something in it that foretold something. If you're just tuning in, I woke up with time as I realized as each passing day, my time is my most valuable asset. You may be realizing that too, and you maybe feel like we're running out of time and there's not enough time in a day to get things done. There's not. It's slipping through our fingers. The National Institute of Standards and Technology explains this principle. Today, one of the most accurate of these atomic clocks lies in the National Physical Library, the NPL, in Teddington, England. It loses about 1 second every 138 million years. How do they know that? How do they know that this clock loses 1 second 138 million years? Are they just guesstimating? Do they know something about time that we don't? Last year, it was just beaten into second place by the clock at the National Institute of Standards and Technology in Boulder, Colorado, which loses 1 second every 300 million years. The secret was to cool it down to the temperature of liquid nitrogen, says Stephen Jeffords at NIST, which minimizes tiny errors. But this is not the kind of clock that you could hang on your wall. It is about the size of a room. In reality, the kind of clock this device doesn't even have a clock face. It is instead used to measure the error in other atomic clocks so that they can be collaborated more accurately. It's like if you have a wristwatch and know that it runs 10 seconds slow every day, you can then reset time. Okay, this really, it screams to me of going back in time traveling and stuff like that too, and holding back time. Because of this, if the days had not been cut short, no one would survive. But then the days got cut short. This is even biblical. And then you have scriptures. For a time, and half a time. Got these clocks. And even in Tomb Raider, the movie, I liked the Tomb Raider movies. It had to do with a clock, a device. It did. And then you hear about Father Time. It's time. It's the most valuable thing. The trusted timepieces would not fare well in today's technological standards. It's the future. Together, a network of such atomic clocks form a network. I'm just trying to get this on here. That defines official times of the world. You almost certainly tap into the network without even realizing it. Atomic clocks help measure the frequencies of the radio waves that are used to broadcast TV, for instance, GPS. Meanwhile, GPS works by measuring the slight delays in the signal sent from different satellites. From those differences, it can work out your distance and location on a map. None of that would be possible without an atomic clock to measure the most minuscule of differences. Sure, it has something to do with the frequencies, radio wave frequencies, and time itself. And these radio frequencies and our sleeping patterns, everything that has to do with the time of day, our circadia, our rhythm of our bodies is all messed up. It's messed up. Often, the problems do not lie in time keeping itself, but the way the information is shared, as the blip in the rudder system helps illustrate. Leon Lobo at the UK's National Physical Laboratory points out that much of today's economy is driven by high frequency trading, using automated systems to do dealings in the fraction of a second. The problem is each institution's clock may be slightly out. As you go below a microsecond level, you find that no one has the same time. If the receiver's clock is ahead, it looks like the data has arrived before they even left. Oh my gosh. Sounds really strange. Do you hear that statement? If the receiver's clock is ahead, it looks like the data has arrived before they left. It sounds like time traveling within time itself. Some traders can then exploit time and the differences to make money. Exploiting time. It started being realized 60 years ago. Time changed. Buying time. Although the satellite signals used for GPS can help even out the differences, they are vulnerable to hacking. They're hacking our sleep. They're hacking the hours of our day with time. Maybe they're making it the daylight comes sooner, or they're making it shorter, confusing our bodies. That's why we're so tired. You can buy GPS jammers that could take out a city block at the cost of whatever, 20. Sometimes the threat is not even intentional. Delivery drivers might use them to hide the detours from their manager while taking out all the buildings along the way, for example, so they wouldn't see. As a solution, NPL is now providing an underground network that wires each institution into its own atomic clock, meaning that each office uses the same source of timekeeping. It is delivered, he said, in a dark network. Dark network. 60 years ago, time changed, meaning that no other signals can be transmitted through the cables. The frequency messes up time. Wow. In this way, the time has become something of a utility, like electricity or broadband, that you need to order on demand. Suddenly, the user has their network, time, and power coming out of the wall. They just have to consume it, is how Lobo describes the service. Consuming your time is like that sci-fi movie. You might want to try to find it, where you ran out of time, your life ended on Earth. You had to work for it. Look at that. The latest optical clock lose They lose less than a single second in the whole lifetime of the universe. Than the whole lifetime of the universe. Within a decade, the best atomic clocks may seem out of date as our old grandfather clocks. In place of caesium, scientists are now turning to other materials like strontium that can be excited by visible light. Visible light, it's like our real sun. Our sleep is messed up by time. They're doing something with the frequencies, and which in turn turn out to be even more accurate. These clocks could have barely lost its pace since the Big Bang, says Lobo. You're looking at 1 second over the whole lifetime of the universe. Lobo points at these clocks as so sensitive that they will be subjected to the mind-boggling physics described by Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. Einstein predicted that the force of gravity can slow down the passage of time itself. For instance, meaning time passes slightly more quickly than the higher you are. We already know that today's atomic clocks feel this effect at high altitude compared to the sea level, but the precision of optical clocks would be immediately obvious even over shorter distances. Simply raising an optical clock by a centimeter changes the frequency. It's all about frequency. In this way, it becomes a gravity meter that could probe the inside of the Earth to discover deposits of oil or gas that might change the Earth's pull in specific location. Those are the disruptive applications that will come out. Is that an advertisement? No. You have taken advantage of the atomic clock without even realizing it. It is even possible that something unexpected will turn up, says Jeffords. Supposing that we find out that the clock's frequency changes minutely over time, you'd worry that the laws of physics themselves are changing, he says, contrary to our long-held assumption that they remain constant. If the history of ticks and talks tells us anything, it is that each new advance has fired other revolutions, from seafaring to GPS and mobile telephones. Will the latest devices be similarly revolutionary? For that, only time will tell. This is very interesting with the frequency of time, because it truly does matter, even the most minute differences. And when they use, like this right here, travel back in time 300 million years, the future. When I see these numbers, look, 60 years ago, invented 60 years ago. Who did it? Who did it? Just think, the robots. The results was 28 million transactions in June of 2013 as robots traders started dealing before others could even get a look in. This is quantum. This is like the blockchain, kind of, sort of. 095959.985 kind of reminds me of ISP addresses. Why do we got ISP addresses, and does it matter? But the frequency of time itself. We're back to the beginning. Our time, I was thinking, is our most valuable asset in this world today. And We're realizing it. I'm realizing it. There's not enough time in a day. There isn't, to do the things you want to do. And when it's all said and done, it's like wealth is worthless in the time of wrath. Your money is nothing compared to time itself. It's you. It's you that matters. It really is. Your time, what you do with your time, and the time that you spend with others. It's like coming on here. I realize that it's important to come on here to share, because I'm giving of my time with others, and it's important for you all to give of your time to share too. Not just like doing this, but in your life away from social media and stuff like that. But they've used frequency. Frequency changes time, and it messes with our bodies. It does. It messes with us. It's revolutionary. We vibrate time too. Yeah, I haven't looked at the comments because I was wanting to see what this said. And they had a video on here, but they did away with the video. I guess it perhaps told too much information. Perhaps it did. And they've proven that just milliseconds can change everything in milliseconds. It can be the matter of life or death. Being in the right place at the right time. And then it's like domino effect. Domino. Is there such things as coincidences, or is it more synchronicities? Synchronicities playing out. Things happen when they're meant to happen, and that has to deal with time. And I'm not going anywhere before my appointed time. I don't have to. I don't. I don't have to stop doing what I'm doing right now. And they can't keep me from doing it. They can't stop me from coming on here, because they don't control my time. They don't. It's like they don't control your time either. That's why I'm not going to run away. I'm going to continue to do what I'm supposed to do. And then you have the phrase, for such a time as this. We all got an appointed time. Gina, honey, you're going on. I'm serious. I'm a really deep thinker, just like a lot of people. Some may be losing their ability to think for themselves. Yeah, but the name, I like the title of this, The Time Lords, the clocks that rule our world, the Time Lords. Who invented them? Who invented them? That's who invented them, right there. Time Lords, more than one. That's right. I'm going to go, you all. Thank you for your listening. In 1960, in 1950, would be 50 to now is 70 years ago. So in the 1960s, yeah, the Time Lords, going back in time, just a millisecond. I'm going to go. And thank you all for coming on here. You're the frequency that is the frequency, microwave frequencies. Is that what they said? Microwave frequencies has to do with time itself. You might want to go back and listen to this video, because it talks about the frequencies and time influences everything. Theory and gold standard, the accuracy achieved. What's gold got to do with it? Eon in comparison to the accuracy achieved by our gold standard atomic clocks. Oh, maybe they're just using it as, okay, see, microwaves, the atoms in your body, and then microwaves in time, frequency. Okay, you all. Don't waste your time on Earth. Make the most of your time because they're already messing with time. And it's your most valuable assets. Even like, you know, you have your aging parents, you have your friends, you have your loved ones, you have your children, you have your family. All they want truly is your time, some of your time. And then how did money get involved? How did all this other stuff get involved to trap us? Because it never existed truly. We were free before the Time Lords came along. I'm going to go. And thank you for being up this early in the morning because your circadia, the rhythm of your body is messed up too. They mess with the timing of your sleep and stuff. Hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello from my heart to yours. Love you.